thing, actually. A democratic society needs a daily newspaper. It needs journalists who are paid a decent salary and do investigative reporting. Unfortunately, we haven't had that. Why have people stopped reading the paper? Why are these papers going under? They'll blame the internet. So I say to them, geez, is that really? So why is it then that the papers in Europe aren't going under? Last I heard, they've got the internet in Germany and Sweden and France. Why aren't they going under? Well, can I take a second and explain my theory about this? I think one of the main reasons why papers are going under is because capitalism has killed them. The greed of these large media companies. They started this back in the late 80s, early 90s. They started laying off reporters, thinking that they could get a smaller group of reporters to do just the same amount of writing. But eventually they canceled beats. And David Simon, the producer of The Wire, used to be a Baltimore Sun reporter, tells the story of how, in Baltimore, the Baltimore Sun, they got rid of the labor reporter, they got rid of the courts reporter, they got rid of the poverty reporter. These are three big things that people in Baltimore care about: labor, poverty, and crime. But if you get rid of the beats, well, why bother reading the newspaper? But they did it because they wanted this short-term profit, short-term gain by getting rid of people, and you'll show a better bottom line at the end. But here's the main reason I think this has happened. We have a nation now of 40 million functionally illiterate adults. 40 million adults who cannot read and write above a 4th grade level. And probably another 40 million who can read at a 4th grade level but can't really comprehend it, can't really analyze it and dissect it. How did we get that way? To have so many tens of millions of our fellow citizens semi-literate, illiterate, and ignorant. It's because we have decimated our schools, our public education system. We have wrecked it beyond belief. And the policies of Republican presidents who've dominated the political scene for the last 30 years, they have a party platform position every convention to dismantle and eliminate the Department of Education. They want as little money spent as possible on education, and if there's one union they'd like to bust, it's the teachers' union. So, in the last 17 presidential elections, between 1940 and 2004, the majority of American newspapers endorsed the Republican candidate for president in 14 of those 17 elections between 1940 and 2004. 14 out of 17 times. They endorsed the candidate of the party that was committed to creating a nation of semi-literate people, people who couldn't read and write on a 4th grade level. In other words, your readers, who's going to buy your paper if they can't read it? And the paper started to recognize that the country had really gone illiterate and stupid. And so what did they start to do 10, 15 years ago? McNews everything. Not just USA Today, all papers, shorter stories, smaller words, bigger pictures, in color. Right? Because they knew the nation that they had helped to create through the policies that they supported and endorsed with the republicanism that we've lived under for the last 30 years. So they've slit their own throats. They've eliminated the very people they need to read their paper, can't read their paper. It would be like General Motors lobbying to eliminate driver education from the schools. They're pretty damn stupid at GM. I don't think they're that stupid. But the newspapers have been that crazy stupid. And now we're in the last year of reading them. The first newspaper was published 404 years ago this year. And now we're going to be, in this year, reading these things for the last time. And boy, who's going to be the happiest when they're all gone? The people in power. Because I'm sorry, but Steve sitting in his underwear, blogging away, down in Redwood, that just ain't going to get it. That's not going to tell us about what's really going on in Afghanistan. So we're pretty doomed when it comes to this media. But hopefully out of it will rise up something else, something new. And frankly, I mean, the Bay Area here has been a great place for new ideas, new thinking outside the box. And I think somebody or somebodies will come along and realize a new form of media that's independent, nonprofit, worker-owned, cooperative, whatever. It'll take on a new form that will be manageable, that will be able to pay salaries, and do its work. And I'll tell you, people will read those papers